welcome to the next row. Yeah. Welcome to the next row. From the field on my way to the next row. Welcome to the next row.
Welcome back to Next Row. Our next guest is legendary. He's one of the best offensive linemen to ever play the game. Big personality. I mean, he still gains respect wherever he goes. Please welcome Bryant McKinnie.
Hey, and the crowd goes wild.
Hey, look, man, I appreciate you for coming on here. You're a hard man to catch. I know you're busy. Look, man, I watched you for years, do what you do on the football field, but not only on the football field. Like, people love you, man. Like, I mean, when it comes to celebrities and just like entertainers, they gravitate towards you. And I've watched you for years, man. Just like the notoriety that you've gained from playing a game of football, but not just football. It's your personality. Did you know? Was there ever a moment where you sat down and said, like, to yourself, where you ask yourself, why do people love me so much? What is it that attracts people to me? Did you ever acknowledge that?
Yeah, kind of. I felt like it was something I realized that I was able to make people feel comfortable. You can make people feel comfortable and then safe at the same time. It kind of lets their guards down, and then they're like more willing to like kind of receive what it is. Once they feel safe and comfortable, I feel like, and I learned that just like start being around different other celebrities, and then they would start like low-key like referring people like, oh, when you come to Miami, you gotta hit up B-Mac. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's because I made them, especially the women, you make them feel safe, and then once they feel safe, they can get comfortable. And then just the group of people that's around me too also makes them feel safe as well, you know? So I feel like that's the big thing, is making people feel safe, that they now feel comfortable being around, and then inviting other people around as well.
In 3 words, how would your teammates describe you?
My teammate described me, because I keep in touch with a lot of my former teammates, college and pros. For sure, one of my teams always told me, he was a guy who was an undrafted guy. He was around, he worked for the Vikings organization. He said, I always made people feel welcome, included, is what the word he used. He said, I always made everybody feel included. Like, I didn't like leave people out, because I mean, we're all a team. So even like, guys would hang out after games, I would be the person who would get the party bus, but I didn't want people to have to drive, you know what I'm saying? Because there were guys who would get pulled over after game, stuff like that. I'm like, how about this? We all meet 2 different people's houses. I'll do a pickup, and then we'll go out together, and nobody has to worry about it. We get back home, to our area safe, and then you can just drive from wherever. But instead of being way downtown and police, seeing these high-profile cars and things like that, it's like, let's just do it this way and have more fun, and you worry about your safety. So I was always like a team player in that aspect too. So if I was to go out, I would make sure other guys who I knew would go out, I would make sure I gave them a ride as well.
No, that's how you basically created like a hospitality kind of. It probably wasn't a company, but that's what you pretty much acted. Like,
And I never even thought about it like that until you just said it. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much how it was.
Yeah, it was pretty much a hospitality company, and that's a lot of what you created too. Like, outside the game of football was like just like hospitality, to a lot of the celebrities and things of that nature. Like, you were the most popular guy in the NFL during that time, and it probably still is. You won a national championship, and you also won a Super Bowl. Which one was harder?
Which one was harder? I would probably say maybe the Super Bowl, because I had 2 opportunities prior to even get. So I won the NFC Championship in 2009 with the Vikings and Brett Favre. Then the year before, the AFC Championship with the Ravens, and we lost. So it took me like 11 years to finally get there. Where in school, I think it was more of everything starts with your mindset. And after we lost 1 game the year before my junior in college, and everybody had made up their mind of, we can't afford to lose any games. And the whole theme of going into my senior year was controlling your own destiny. So it's like, okay, we all are on board of, we can't afford to lose any games. And once you have a team, we realized we had a talented team. But at the time, it's just like a bunch of young guys coming together, practicing hard against each other, now realizing how everybody's career like later on panned out. That it was a special group of guys. But like, we all kind of just bought into it and really believed that we could do it. So I feel like just having that certain mindset. Not saying it was easy, but we went the year before only losing 1, and we felt like it was doable just to pick up 1 more game and just go undefeated and just control it, instead of allowing the BCS to kind of dictate who goes to the national championship.
No, absolutely. And during those times, which was the better? Did you have, as far as your career goes, your college career and your pro career, which was the better? I would assume that you probably appreciated the NFL more because that was your goal, the ultimate goal to get there. But did you have
Yeah.
more fun in the league, or did you have more fun in college?
College, I had certain years, like 2009 with the Vikings was a very fun and dope year. And then even like I got with the Ravens too, but college was definitely that was like step one of even getting there with, a bunch of young guys came from all over and we're all in Miami together and still like teenagers growing up together too. So that was the most fun. Was definitely college, and it wasn't business yet. When you get to the league, it becomes more business. And I learned right away because I had that long holdout, so I had to learn those business as soon as I got there.
Do you feel like there's something you left on the field, something if you can go back and into time, right? Go back in the hands of time. Would you want to change anything?
Yeah, I would definitely change a few things. I want to wear gloves earlier. I wasn't wearing gloves for a while, first half of my career, just because I just like to use my hands, but my hands would be hurt and sore. But I later on got gloves and I would cut the fingertips out so I could still have like that feeling sensation. I don't know if I would have had that boat party, in Minnesota. And just as a professional, just some things that I would probably tweak a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, that's understandable. I understand that. There's a lot of things too in my life that I wish I wouldn't have done. But
Yeah,
ultimately, those things shape us, and
it
it's a
does.
story about of who we are and what we used to do. And look, those you were young. Those things
Right.
don't.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I
25,
mean?
just
Yeah, you live
experiencing life.
you learn. It's better you do it then than do it now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh, so that's I applaud you for even acknowledging that. But what's one thing that fans don't understand about being an offensive lineman?
The offensive lineman, I always say my position, I'm the head of security. So because the left tackle is the blind side who has like the quarterback's back for most situations. If you got a right-handed quarterback, offensive line is kind of like almost an unsung hero. I always compare offensive line as like the engine in the car. Like the car won't move without the engine cranking up. You know what I'm saying? The quarterback is going to be the driver, the receiver tight end, everybody are the wheels. You know what I mean? That gets it going. But the car can't move if the engine's not cranking and getting things out the way. So nobody really talks about the engine until it fails. So but
Hmm.
everybody talk about how nice the wheels is or the driver, stuff like that. But I feel like the offensive line, if you don't come off the field, you do a lot of the hard work. You earn that for 60 to 80 plays per game. But I played defensive end in high school. So when it came time for me to convert over, I was like, I don't know the offensive lineman. I don't want to play that position. But my coach kind of talked me into those longevity, you're 6'8", being defensive end, you'll get cut block a lot in the league, like just from longevity standpoint. Trust me and learn to play this position. I feel like a lot of offensive linemen kind of go under the radar. I feel like a lot of offensive linemen should be doing more like insurance commercials.
Mm.
That's where insurance companies should come and use offensive linemen because, they're great players as well. But I feel like a lot of it goes to like more of the like skill positions. But I feel like certain brands should use offensive linemen as that as the face of their companies.
Do you think being a defensive player helps you become a super athletic offensive tackle? Because I mean, look,
Yeah.
most guys your size don't move the way you did. I mean, you moved better than most tight ends. So did that help you out as far as your
It
athleticism?
it did. It helped me out athletically, but also like mentally because I knew what I would like to do, what my goal was as defensive end. So now I just have to reverse it and say, okay, now I got to figure out how to stop it. You know what I mean? And just flip it around. So it definitely helped me out a lot. Just knowing both positions and then I had great players that I had to go against in practice, like Jared Allen and Terrell Suggs, and we would have conversations about what is your goal, what are you saying, and we would just share information with each other.
Let me ask you about Jared Allen because I had to face him many times. That dude
Mhm.
was tough, man. I mean, like you talking about somebody that can get off the ball, who's very crafty with his hands.
Yeah,
He just played the game of football at a very high level, and he was very technical about how he
Mhm.
approached it. It's like how tough was it to go against Jared Allen?
he was good, and I feel like we made each other better. Just going against each other and having conversations in practice. There was two different Jared Allens. So when he was in Kansas City, he was a little heavier, and I feel like he was more of a run stopper. But then at a certain point where he like shed a lot of weight and became a lot more like athletic and he must have just started doing like classes that had hands because like then he became like to me a more of a complete player. So towards the end of his Kansas City career, and when he came to the Vikings, he was already like in that like second phase of Jared Allen, and he just would tell me like mentally like, oh, I'm looking to get to this target. If you beat me there, then I'm going to do a counter move, things like that. So we would just share information, and I would tell him like what my goal was, or because everything's about angles, like far as O line and D line, if you really think about it. And it's me just getting to a point before you or cutting it off or just making things easier for myself. we just were able to share like a lot of great notes and a lot of great practices and reps against each other.
That's amazing. Who was the funny? Was he funny? Who was your funniest teammate?
Jared was funny. Like you had different people who were funny. Like Brett Favre was actually funny. And big personality. I think a lot of people don't realize that. Chester Taylor could be funny. There was a guy named Kelly Campbell. He was like early in career. Now, he was funny. He was like a loud funny. But yeah, Jared could be funny. Jared could be funny as well. Oh, Pat Williams. Pat Williams was more of like funny but grouchy. But you had a couple guys in there who were. Oh, Fred Smoot. Fred Smoot was definitely like a comedian too. Yeah.
I'm here, dog.
Fred.
Fred, hey, I see
But when I
Fred.
got to the Ravens, you had Ray Rice. Ray Rice is a comedian.
See, I never hung out with Ray. I never had a chance to get to meet him. Really?
Yeah, Ray's all like Ray Rice is all like jokes and yeah, he's funny.
I wouldn't have never known that. I wouldn't
No,
know.
he definitely is.
Oh wow. Okay. You learn. See, that's what I love about doing these interviews because you learn a lot of things you thought you knew that you don't know. But that's pretty cool. If you had a chance to go back and play the game right now, could you do it?
I don't know about a whole season. I'll have to see how they got after a game or something. Like, a whole season, I don't know. But the way things are set up now, because I do a podcast for the Vikings, and I go up to training camp and things, and everything is science based, which I wish it could have been a little bit more like that for me.
Okay.
So they know when you're dehydrated, they have like this little thing, they just measure your dehydration, all the types, and they'll pull you out of practice. Now, back then, they wasn't pulling you out of practice for nothing, but they'll hold you out like, oh, you haven't reached your hydration levels, we're going to hold you back because the goal is to keep you fresh for Sunday. So they would take you out of practice and do things because the goal is to make sure you're at your maximum level to perform on Sunday. Well, a lot of us I was getting into the sauna the day before, to sweat out like 3 pounds, stuff like that. Probably put myself behind the 8 ball a little bit, but those are things you were doing to make weight. But
wow,
they have it down. A lot of things are science. A lot of things is about nutrition there. Like they have a whole nutritionist thing. They have, we used to have to bring our own snacks in. They have a whole snack. The Vikings do. They have a whole little snack area where you get your coconut water, your electrolytes, your just drinks, beverages. I just have everything available for them now. It's so much more convenience. It should be easier for them to be pros. They have a whole recovery center where they can go in there. I would just live up there. I hosted their draft party the other Thursday.
Okay.
So I see like they have if you don't want to get into the ice tub, they have where they blow the cool air on you or whatever, and it pretty much is the same thing. Like they have a whole recovery room now, like that they didn't have before, that you have to go out and get your own, and they have all that now. So it's like you really don't have no excuse at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they
that's
provide.
crazy.
And I can speak on the Vikings because this is what I've seen, but they provide everything for their players for the most part.
That's interesting. And from playing on multiple teams, you're probably going to attest to this. A lot of these organizations, they don't have things that other organizations have.
Right. That's why I was like, I can only speak on what I've seen with the Vikings because I know.
Yeah.
Now, when I first left the Vikings, the Ravens to me were ahead. Like, you know what I'm saying? But then the Vikings seem to have bought a new facility and caught up and kind of passed a lot of organizations. And I can see it in the grading. When they grade teams and facilities, the Vikings are always up there in the A, caliber and things like that. So they're doing a great job.
Wow, that's amazing. They're preparing them for the future and what's next. And speaking of what's next, a lot of players, they don't know how to navigate after they finish playing the game of
And
football.
that's another thing. So that's all right. So the Vikings hire myself and my group, like a little staff of us. So I have a therapist and I have like 2 other players, like Ray Rice came in 1 year, Tom Harris came another year. We go up there and we talk to the team and we speak on mental health, just different things and life after the game, things like that. And so once again, the Vikings are on board. So they've had me already for 2 years. Now this year they have me come again in October. Myself, 2 players, and a therapist. And we talk to, not only do we talk to the players, now we're talking to the staff as well. So we have 2 separate conversations. But they're kind of like moving the 8 ball. Like they're kind of ahead. And I appreciate them, reaching out because I do my mental health awareness event every year in May. And they've been a sponsor since day 1, since I first started. It's my year 4. And then for them to now start adding me on board, Les Pico, he was over player personnel, but he kind of was backing out as they brought me in. It was like his last year or so. And then Jasper Brinkley, who was my teammate, now took over the position. He just continued where Les started with me and having us come up. But they're very proactive on, having, discussions about mental health. And I guess they like the fact that I, have a therapist with me as well. Then I'm a former player that played there. And then, Tommy Harris, he comes in, he can speak on Breathe. Ray Rice came in, he spoke with domestic violence. So I just have different people who been in their shoes who can give them like more insight instead of, back when we went to the rookie symposium, it was like random people up there who weren't in our shoes, but would try to tell us like, well, you got to make this decision. It's like, it's easy to say that when you haven't been in our position, but I would rather hear from somebody who has been in our position, who can kind of understand things. You'll receive it more. So those guys actually receive what we say. And, they give us an hour and sometimes we find ourselves going over the hour because I'm like, oh, they're really, me, I feel like back when we played, sometimes like you got to stay somewhere for an extra hour and they're like, I got to be home. But like they're really into it. So I didn't know how they would interact, but they like, oh, we have questions or how, like, can we talk afterwards? Like they're really into it. I feel like that generation really wants to be heard. It's just like they just need somebody to listen to them. And that's what I kind of got from it.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. How did you navigate life after football?
Me, I never looked at myself as just a football player. Where I started late, I didn't start till high school, played in ninth grade, then again in 11th and 12th. So me, it was like I always was doing other things and I always had other interests, so it was like I just happened to play football. Where I know a lot of people started at 5 or 6 years old playing Pop Warner and things like that. So that's been their identity the whole time. Where for me, it was I wrestled, I played basketball, I did other things, and then football came, and I ended up kind of excelling at that at a later age. So for me, it was always like, while I'm here, I'm going to just kind of navigate, meet a lot of different people, network, but then I'm gonna be able to have this network of people and eventually do some type of business with them later on, or like concierge service, just different things. I already had that in my mind. For me to transition, I don't feel like it was too hard for me, but then also what made me add mental health awareness to my mission statement was because around the time I was retiring, there was two other guys who, I'm friends with, and my mom's friends with their parents and stuff, and they were having trouble transitioning and getting in trouble. And, when I got Baker Act, I had to go down to the psych ward, sit there, and I was like, now I'm calling to the NFL and the NFLPA, like, okay, how do we help them? Like, so I started kind of being hands-on with these situations and trying to get people help. And I was just like, okay, they don't feel comfortable talking to their family. They'd rather talk to me because they feel like we've been in the same shoes. But then also it's like, well, what are some keys that we could start looking at to recognize somebody may be going through something? And then I started just kind of just digging deeper. And I'm like, all right, so I got to start figuring out how we can make these uncomfortable conversations a little more comfortable. Like have a safe space where, okay, if I bring these people on and they express like what they've been through in life, and people have realized like, oh, I'm not the only one. Because the first year I did it, one of my close friends, she's always smiling, didn't think nothing. After the event, she hit me the next day, like, I'm so glad you had it. I was going through this, that, and the other. And after hearing myself speak and other people, share their stories, she opened up and told me, and I would have never known. So I feel like a lot of people suffer in silence, just thinking they're the only ones. But now you hear a bunch of people up on a panel and they're speaking about different situations or what they do to overcome if they feel like they're going through depression or anything, and they just tell their journey and their story. It allows people to like kind of have hope. And then also the way we do it is like a fireside type of chat too, so the audience can interact and ask questions as well. So they get to ask questions and they'll get a direct answer back. And then you have therapists, doctors, you have different people on there. You have artists, you have entertainers, you have athletes, you have a random like array of people that's on the panel too. So it's coming from all different directions.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like you got a lot going on from business, philanthropy, consulting. Like, what are you most excited about?
The foundation, really, I really want to start moving this conversation just not only in Miami, but I do want to take it back to Minnesota because that's, where I played there first, and then take it over to like the DMV, Baltimore area, and then Jersey. Like, I still want to move it around basically and just start having these conversations more and more with people just so they can just, because people need to heal. A lot of people are out here, especially during the pandemic, I think a lot of things kind of like got different. And just a lot of things that people don't have access to, but we're able to go to these places and have these conversations and sit in and listen. It would give them, some type of like hope or like a good, good feeling or something, just way to heal and correct things. So that, but then also my company, Let's Chat, we're still around and we're live on Xfinity and like I said, Comcast is a shareholder, trying to get us back over to NFL. We were doing the NFL for the past couple of years, doing subtitling, translation, and then they switched from Game Pass to NFL Plus. So now it's like try to get us back over there. But we're like Bojangles, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, like all those different companies on a bunch of car dealership websites. And then I opened up a brokerage. So I have a brokerage in Buckhead, Lifestyle International Realty, doing commercial residential real estate, also development now too. So it's kind of a bunch of things. Then I keep myself busy. Then I go to Detroit. I just got booked next week to go to Detroit and speak on a panel about, it's a real estate panel, but it's talking about teamwork and togetherness and things like that. So that's the area where I'm gonna speak on.
Wow, that's amazing, man. You got some great things going on. I love that. You also you talk about mental health. Mental health. Is there anything that you struggled with while you were playing when it comes to mental health? I know I did. I I struggled with a panic disorder late in my career. I remember I was laying there in the bed and during training camp, and then I just woke up, heart racing, breathing hard, and um, just dealing. I had to deal with that throughout the tenure of my career. What about you? Is there anything you dealt with?
With me, I just felt like I was more like probably hanging out because I didn't. That was my way of mentally checking out. Like, oh, let me go out and have a drink. Like, you know what I mean,
Mm,
and get away from. I was always trying to find myself like. Because it can be overwhelming, you can be tired, and it's like then sometimes in Minnesota, I just feel like my introduction there, I wasn't sure how people received me because I was holding out for 98 days, like, you know what I'm saying? So my welcome there, I realize now they appreciate me, but at the time, I just wasn't sure because it's like, okay, this guy's a rookie, he comes in here, and he's arguing about money, and he hasn't played it down and things like that. You know, those were things that were being said in the media. But it was like, I understood that it was business right away. If they decided to cut me the following year, that was a business decision on them and everybody be okay with it. But now if
mm.
I'm doing something to handle business on my own to make sure I'm protected, why is there a problem? You know, so it was just that at the beginning of just me make sure I had to just stand my ground and just knowing who I am. And I feel like that's a big part of me just being firm and knowing who I am and just like, I'm just gonna stand my ground. But you have your moments though, but it's like I find ways and I read the word too. So when I feel like I'm getting a little too lost, pick up that Bible. If you look at my stories, you'll see every morning is there going to be a clip from me reading something, and I post in my story just to kind of give everybody else, you know, something to read as well.
No, that's amazing, man. That's the most interesting thing to me about when it comes to like us getting older, just the growth and us just evolving as human beings, especially people like yourself, who has this platform, right? This platform, notoriety, money. You have the fame. You have like you just have everything, right? And for you to be able to like grow, evolve, and to be able to share things on your social media when it comes to just motivation and inspiring people is a beautiful thing. Um, do you feel like athletes get distracted a lot? What is it that they're getting distracted with? Is it money? Is it woman? What is it?
It could be a combination of things, and it depends on the person and what their vice is. Some people can be the women, and some people can be the cars. It could be the nightlife. It can be a lot of. It can be family. It can be a lot of things that can come in and play a distraction. So that's why I'm saying like staying at work is a big part of keeping you kind of grounded and keeping you focused. But then also it's also having somebody that you kind of can talk to, like you know what I mean, that you really genuinely feel like that you can really talk to. Because a lot of times people are listening just because they feel like you're going to help them in some type of way, but like someone who you feel like genuinely is in your corner to have your best interest is always good to have that, whether it's another teammate or something else, you know what I mean? But having somebody to be able to, so you're not bottling everything up, because I say you'll bottle it up and it'd be like a soda being shook, and then all of a sudden it'll explode eventually. You got to be able to get things off your chest. So I feel like having somebody like that in your corner. And I would say in Baltimore, I feel like we had a lot of guys who, you know, we could talk to each other, you know, and kind of share what you're going through. And like I said, you kind of all come from the same type of background, so kind of relate more too.
That makes sense. That makes sense. If you had, would you, if you had some advice for any young guys, just coming into the NFL, like what would it be about? Would it be woman? Would it be money? What would you tell them?
So you know, when I got to Baltimore, by me being a veteran, they were like they would sign you like different rookies. So like I had the guard next to me just happened. He had somebody else. He asked for me. So you almost became like a mentor, and you had to like talk with them. They had like questions every once a week. You had to go
Mhm.
back and forth and answer questions with them. Now Minnesota, we never did that, but Baltimore they did, which I feel like was dope. But with them, I would just say focus on like your craft, because that's what's got you there, and that's this was going to pay your bills. Like all the outside noise, it'll be there, like it'll be there. But focus on what got you there, and make sure it keeps you there. That's the main thing. Because all the distraction, all it's going to do is like get you out the door, or it's going to weaken your game. It's just going to do something where it's not that important, and your goal is to be there to play at a high level and be there as long as you can. The main thing is just focus on you and learning how to be a professional, whether you get with a veteran and somebody, or just watch somebody to see how they operate and move. And that's what I did, because I feel like I came from University of Miami, won that championship. Everybody felt like I knew how to be a pro. No, I'm sitting here, I got to watch y'all. Okay, y'all getting iced up on Fridays. Okay, now, oh, y'all got a massage suit. Like I had to sit just to hear and listen to pay attention, because it wasn't like nobody came and got me and said, all right, this is what we do. It was like I just had to watch and hear different things and say, okay, I need to get massages on Fridays and ice tub Friday after practice. Like I just started watching and realizing what was going on. But
Mm.
just follow somebody who you look up to, and just kind of watch some of that happen, especially guys who've been around for a while because they know how to take care of their body. So even I
Mhm.
still was learning stuff even when I got to Baltimore because now Ray Lewis is there and he's like, oh, you got to start juicing, you got to do this. So he started adding another element. I went and bought a juicer. Like he started adding different elements, and then stretching became a big thing. I wasn't stretching like Minnesota like that. Get out there, just go. But now stretching is like, oh, during training camp at lunchtime, these group guys need to come in here and stretch. It's like, all right, I mean, that's stretching. Like, so it's still, and later in my career, I'm still learning more things. And I just feel like I have the ability to always continue to keep learning, and you ain't got no choice but to get better.
Yeah, and if you think about it, Big Mac, is we're essentially like track runners. Like all track runners do is stretch. You
Yeah.
know, like I played 14 years and I never had surgery. Never had
Oh,
surgery.
that's good.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with me stretching, massage.
Flexibility. Yeah.
But I stretched all, dude. I would stretch 6, 7 times a day,
Yeah.
like no joke.
I'm into it now. I'm part of a place called Yoga Joint. So I do that now to just
Okay.
keep the range of motion and everything going. But yeah, I learned that I got into stretching towards the end of my career.
Wow, that's amazing. That's awesome. And when you so the end of your career, I want to go back to the beginning of your career when you first went into training camp. Was there anything that shocked you? Was it hard? Like what was it like?
Luckily, I was in Minnesota, so it wasn't too hot. It was like nice, like in the 70s or something, like upper 70s. I was shocked. We had some physical training camps when I was there with Coach Tyson. So it was like sometimes, and the thing about it was that they'd be so physical. We started the season like 7-0 at times, and then burn out because we didn't we didn't have so it was been so physical. No, nothing really shocked me. It was just sometimes the coach will start practice over, and I'm like, what? Like, you know what I mean? And like, our practice was going, it started back over, and I'm like, but then things changed. But and then I was there from 2 days to when it became only one, and then the second practice had to be like special teams practice, things like that. So I started seeing like the transition of like the real hard nosed era of real 2 days to now you're in training camp. You have one hard practice in the morning, and the second practice is only going to be a special teams. So I seen the change in then, and then towards that time too, like things about like concussion and stuff started like slowly coming into play too, and they started being more mindful about head injuries and things like that as well. So I was seeing kind of the transformation, but then like I said, I went back a year or so ago, and it's gotten even further now with the hydration and just things like that that they have with the science and everything. And then with me too, even when I first was in Minnesota, like they gave me like a weight that I had to be at, which I'm 22 years old. By the time I'm like 30-some years old, you think I'm gonna still be that same weight? It's crazy. But they thought I would. But luckily, when I got to Baltimore, because like I'm still developing. I'm 22. Just got me on a weight program lifting. So it's like when I got to Baltimore, it became more about my body fat and not my
Mhm.
actual weight. So now it's like, which is smart. Like that's why I was saying like they kind of like got there. They were kind of a little ahead. It was more about well, as long as his numbers are under this far as body fat, then it's fine. It's not about the weight. It's the amount of fat he's carrying. It's like it's not high. It's lower than a lot of other guys. So that kind of helped me out when I got to Baltimore. Just going strictly on numbers was like, this is crazy. That's why like somebody for me, like me, would appreciate the science that they have now because it shows you more like numbers and stuff like that.
Mhm, mhm. Now, so what was it? So you've been to a lot of different training camps. You played for a long time. Were there any training camps that you walked into and you were like, this is hard. This is tough. Like, I don't want to do this. Did you ever have a moment like that in training camp?
One of them years with Coach Tyson, when I said we had a real physical training camp, and it made everybody better. And it was like one of them seasons where, like I said, we started off 7-0, but it was
Mhm.
like, bro, like, ease up a little bit, like you know what I'm saying? But it was like he wanted to build like a hard nosed, tough team, and I mean, you had it for the first 7 games, but then that kind of fizzled out after a while too. I feel like it was a learning lesson too. Like, okay, coach, you got to know when to kind of pull back a little bit too.
Do you feel like it's easier now than when we were playing?
Yeah. Yeah, I watched the practices. It's not, I don't feel like as hard or always as physical. Like we knew Wednesday and Thursday was gonna be a physical day. Like, you know what I'm saying? I watched some of their practices and you have the inside one that may be physical, but the rest of it is like kind of like you're going, you're taking your steps and everything, but you don't have to be as physical. Be in position, but you don't have to be as physical. Where you was hitting people out there like they don't have to get tackled or hit as much anymore either. Like I feel like they're saving people too, some wear and tear, so
Mhm.
I don't think it's as hard. I think it's not as the same. That era when I'm saying from like 2002 to like around 2007 or 8, that era around there was like a definitely harder era. Then it started changing up slowly, 2009 or 10. So yeah, it was just two different eras, and things were more hard nosed. I know you got your bill wrong back then, But now it's like, oh, you may have a concussion. It's two different mindsets of the way they look at it now. Back then it was you got your bill, and that was it. Go back in the game. But now it's like, oh, let us check to make sure, you're cognitively here with us. So it's two different mindsets.
Yeah, it's interesting the way the game changes over and over and over.
You gotta remember, there was a segment on ESPN called Jacked Up where people just got hit crazy. And there was like a big highlight of people getting tore up. They took that out. What's on concussion? We don't have that no more. You know what I'm saying? But these were plays, people just getting laid out. Like, jacked up, you got jacked up. Like, yeah, that was like a whole segment. And so you can tell, like, things have evolved and gotten away from it being as physical as that. Like, those hits now probably be illegal or things like that. You get a penalty. So things have evolved, even in the media.
Now, just from my mindset, from my perspective, I feel like the game of football is going to become flag football at some point in time. The way it's going,
the way everything is going. I mean, they have padding, but the way it's like every little thing is like, that's too much. So it's like, what can you do? Because sometimes I see on defense, these guys aren't really trying to spear anybody, but sometimes it just happen to just fall into a tackle the wrong way, and it's a flag. It's like, so it kind of makes you unsure on how to tackle sometimes, but it's changed.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. I mean, I'm like, what's next? I mean, what are they going to take out next? What are they going to change? Look, I'm not saying change is a bad thing. I think it's good, especially when it comes to protecting
right.
the game, right? But what is it going to look like in the next 20 years? Like, what is this game going to actually look like? I mean, is it going to be a situation in games where you can't tackle? It's just stud? Is it just like practice now?
Unless they get some type of like different type of padding or something to really protect the head or something, I feel like that's the only way. Like they have to change the helmets or something.
Yeah, I mean, are they wearing these electric body suits where you got to touch them in certain places in order for you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, man. I have no idea. I don't know what's going on. But we'll see. We'll see. B-Mac, if you can leave some positive words, just some words that can last with the audience, not just the audience, but these young guys who are maybe listening to the podcast, what would that be?
Just in life, to be successful, you have to be consistent and disciplined. Those are the two key elements. Be very consistent of getting up every day, putting in some hard work, and having the discipline to know when you can do something, when you can eat something, when you can. Just having discipline and consistency, and putting in hard work, I feel like will help get you to somewhere where you need to be successful. And I feel like those are like the main key ingredients.
Discipline, hard work. Consistency, discipline, and hard work.
Yeah.
I like that. Consistency, discipline, and hard work. I'm going to take that with me. I know we're getting down to the wire. We almost there. B-Mac, I'm going to do this rapid fire with you, and I'll let you go. I know you're a busy man. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. You can just respond how you see fit. Coffee or energy drink?
Energy drink.
Which one's
probably better for you, but I'm going to drink an energy drink.
I take that. I'm not opposed to that. Better Bahamas or DR?
I've never been to DR. Can you believe that? I plan on going this year. So I'm going to say Bahamas. But I haven't been, but I want to go. I just came from Cayman Islands, though, on Wednesday.
See, you must be like me. Like I always said, I'm not going to go to these places that are easy to get to. I'm going to just go far away. Then I can, at the end, like when I get older, I can go to all these places that are so close.
Because they're right there.
Exactly. No, I get that.
Right.
Friday Night Lights or any given Sunday?
Any given Sunday.
If you had to block someone for the last play to win a game, who are you choosing? Aaron Donald or Myles Garrett?
Those were two people I said I would like to play against. Like, I would wish I had the opportunity to go against. I'll probably say Myles Garrett because Aaron Donald was more of a D tackle anyway. So, like, Myles Garrett would be out there on the edge with me.
Okay, Myles Garrett. Okay. All right,
yeah.
Okay, all right. I can see, man, that'd be crazy.
It would, because he got long arms too. So, like, that would be a good matchup.
Oh, man, I love it.
Like a Julius Peppers type of guy a little bit.
Oh, man, I love to see that. That'd be a crazy battle. Although you have a championship, I want to ask you this. Would you rather have $50 million and a championship or no championship and $300 million?
$50 million and a championship.
Oh, man, you going for the $50 million. I'm going for the 300, man.
I want a championship.
Man, you go make some babies. Go have some kids and let them win the championship for you. Forget that.
Nah, I mean, I can still take that 50 and invest in and still build it up.
And I'm taking that 300 and I'm going to go win me a championship on Madden or something like that. But nah, man. I appreciate you, man. Good to see you. I'm glad you're doing well. And yeah, man, keep up the good work.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, Big Mac. Appreciate you, man.
Okay.
All right.
Welcome to the next row.